Coco Gauff just revealed that Chinese fans treat her better than anywhere else in the world, showering her with personalized gifts that show they actually study what she likes. While American media spent her rookie season questioning everything about her, China rolled out the red carpet and made her feel valued. The contrast is absolutely wild, and the haters are probably fuming right now. Before we get into this, drop a comment. Why does it take going to another country for Coco Gauff to receive the respect and appreciation she deserves? Let's talk about what Coco Gauff actually said, because the specifics reveal something pretty damning about how she's treated in different parts of the world. In an interview during the China Open, Coco was asked about what leaves the best impression when she plays in Beijing. Her response wasn't about the facilities, the prize money, or the competition level. She said it was the fans. Specifically, she mentioned that every year she comes to China, she leaves with more gifts than the year before. She said, and this is important, "In no other tournament do I get as many gifts as I do here in Beijing. Not in the US, not at Grand Slams, not at prestigious tournaments in Europe, China." That's where she feels most appreciated and valued as both an athlete and a person.
Definitely the fans, I think. Every year I come here and I always leave with more gifts.
Oh, it's for me? Yes. Oh, so nice. Thank you.
In no other tournament I get as many gifts as I do here in Beijing. So I think the fans always leave the best impression for me, and they really study what the things I like. So I think that's why it feels a bit personal with them.
But here's the part that really hits differently. Coco mentioned that Chinese fans really study what the things I like, making their gifts feel personal rather than generic. Think about what that means for a second. Fans in China are paying attention to her interests, her preferences, her personality beyond just tennis. They're putting thought and effort into showing appreciation in ways that matter to her specifically. Meanwhile, back in America, large portions of media and fans spent significant time during her early career questioning whether she deserved her ranking, whether her success was legitimate, whether she was overhyped. The contrast couldn't be more stark or more uncomfortable for people who want to pretend American sports culture treats its athletes fairly. This isn't the first time international fans have shown more love to American athletes than America itself does. It's actually a pretty consistent pattern, especially for Black athletes and particularly for Black women athletes. They achieve success, they break barriers, they bring attention to their sport, and instead of universal celebration, they face criticism, skepticism, and constant questioning of their legitimacy. Then they go overseas and get treated like the champions they are, which should make everyone in America do some serious reflection about why that keeps happening. Spoiler alert. That reflection rarely happens because acknowledging the problem would require admitting there's a problem. Coco's comment about gifts feeling a bit personal in China reveals something that probably wasn't intended but is worth examining. When fans take the time to learn what you like, what matters to you, what brings you joy, and then give gifts that reflect that understanding, it creates a genuine connection. It says, "I see you as a whole person, not just an athlete performing for my entertainment." That's meaningful in ways that go beyond the monetary value of any gift, and the fact that Coco feels that connection most strongly in China rather than in her home country is honestly pretty sad when you think about it. Let's address what was happening in America while Chinese fans were studying what Coco likes so they could give her thoughtful gifts. American tennis media was writing think pieces about whether she was ready for the pressure of being highly ranked. Commentary sections were filled with people questioning her mental toughness after any loss. Social media turned every match into a referendum on whether she deserved to be mentioned in the same breath as tennis legends. She was 19, 20 years old, accomplishing things most players never achieve in their entire careers. And the response from large portions of American tennis culture was skepticism and criticism rather than celebration. The treatment Coco receives in China isn't just about gifts, though those are a tangible symbol of appreciation. It's about respect. Chinese fans aren't constantly questioning whether she's earned her success. They're not comparing her to other players in ways designed to diminish her accomplishments. They're not treating every match as a test to prove she belongs at the top level. They're simply appreciating her excellence and showing that appreciation in thoughtful, personal ways. That's what athletes deserve, and it's wild that she has to travel to the other side of the world to consistently receive it.
You know, I've only seen like settings like this on TV and movies. I don't know, it's really cool to be here in person. Yeah, it smells good. I don't usually like tea, but I usually like a lot of sugar in it, you know? I finished mine fast. I really liked it. I'm the hostess now. Want some tea, Maria? I already have a full cup, but so good.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I've never been to China before, so it's really cool to experience these different things, and I appreciate the Chinese people and the people of the courtyard for allowing me to be a part of this experience.
Now, some people will inevitably respond to this by saying, well, Chinese fans are just really enthusiastic about tennis. Or Asian fans are known for giving gifts to celebrities. And sure, there's cultural context that matters here, but let's not pretend that's the whole story. Coco specifically said she gets more gifts in Beijing than at any other tournament. She plays in Europe, in Australia, in other parts of Asia. Beijing stands out. Chinese fans stand out. And the reason they stand out is because of the specific, personal nature of their appreciation, which Coco explicitly mentioned. This isn't just cultural enthusiasm. This is genuine, thoughtful recognition of who she is as a person. The irony of this situation is particularly sharp, given how often American sports media and fans talk about supporting our athletes and American pride when it comes to international competition. Where was all that support and pride when Coco was facing constant criticism and skepticism early in her career? Where was the thoughtful appreciation of her accomplishments? Where were the people studying what she likes and showing appreciation in personal ways? They were too busy questioning whether she was mentally tough enough, whether her ranking was inflated, whether she could handle pressure. Chinese fans were apparently the ones actually supporting an American athlete while Americans were busy tearing her down. This pattern extends beyond Coco, obviously. Serena Williams faced decades of disrespect, scrutiny, and racism in American tennis while being celebrated globally as one of the greatest athletes of all time. Naomi Osaka, who represented Japan but was raised partially in America, faced brutal treatment from American media and fans that contributed to her mental health struggles. Simone Biles, arguably the greatest gymnast ever, got criticized for prioritizing her mental health during the Olympics. The pattern is consistent. Black women athletes achieve extraordinary success. America responds with skepticism and criticism. International fans show actual appreciation. And then Americans get confused about why these athletes don't feel more supported at home. Coco's revelation about Chinese fans is also interesting from a business and marketing perspective. She's a Nike athlete with major endorsement deals, and China is obviously a massive market for sports brands. The fact that she has such a strong, personal connection with Chinese fans makes her more valuable as a marketing presence in that region. Meanwhile, the American tennis establishment spent so much time questioning her legitimacy that they potentially weakened her marketability at home. Smart business strategy, definitely. Nothing says, grow the sport, like constantly undermining your young stars until they feel more appreciated in other countries. The specific mention that fans study what things I like is particularly telling because it indicates a level of attention and care that goes way beyond casual fandom. These aren't people just showing up to watch tennis and then forgetting about the players afterward. These are fans who pay attention to interviews, follow social media, learn about personalities and interests, and then translate that knowledge into meaningful gestures of appreciation. That's the kind of fan engagement that every athlete should experience, and it's frankly embarrassing that Coco has to go to China to get it consistently. Let's also talk about what this says about the state of American tennis culture more broadly. Tennis in America has always had complicated relationships with race and class. The sport has historically been associated with wealth, privilege, and predominantly white participation. When players like the Williams sisters and now Coco Gauff achieve massive success, they challenge those associations and force the tennis establishment to confront its own biases. The response to that challenge has often been resistance, skepticism, and criticism rather than celebration. Chinese fans who don't have the same historical baggage around race in American tennis can simply appreciate excellence without all that complicated context getting in the way. The timing of Coco's comments is also worth noting. She made these statements after winning the China Open, during a period where she was playing some of the best tennis of her career. She was confident, successful, and feeling good about her game. And in that moment of triumph, when asked what leaves the best impression, her answer was about feeling appreciated and valued by Chinese fans in ways she doesn't experience elsewhere. That's not a throwaway comment. That's a meaningful statement about where she feels most supported and respected as an athlete in person. The haters that the title references are probably having a difficult time with Coco's comments because they reveal an uncomfortable truth. All the criticism, all the skepticism, all the questioning of her legitimacy and mental toughness, none of that was actually about helping her or being constructively critical. It was just negativity, and Coco found more support and appreciation in China than she did from significant portions of American tennis culture. That's not a great look for anyone who spent time tearing her down while claiming to care about American tennis. Another angle worth examining is what this means for the globalization of tennis and sports generally. Athletes increasingly have options about where to base themselves, which events to prioritize, and which markets to focus on building their brands. If Coco feels more appreciated and supported in China than in America, that affects decisions about where to spend time, which sponsors to work with, and how to allocate energy and resources. The assumption that American athletes will automatically prioritize American markets and American fans is increasingly outdated, especially when those American fans and media outlets treat them worse than international audiences do. The personal nature of the gifts Coco mentioned is also worth emphasizing because it shows a level of respect for her humanity. She's not just a tennis-playing robot who exists to provide entertainment. She's a person with interests, preferences, likes, and dislikes. Chinese fans recognize that and show appreciation in ways that acknowledge her full humanity. Compare that to how American sports media often treats athletes as commodities or entertainment products rather than people. The difference is stark, and it's not surprising that Coco notices and appreciates the former more than tolerates the latter. This situation also highlights how social media and global connectivity have changed athlete-fan relationships. Chinese fans can follow Coco's social media, watch her interviews, learn about her interests, and engage with her as a person in ways that weren't possible decades ago. They're using that access to build genuine connections and show appreciation in thoughtful ways. Meanwhile, some American fans use that same access to criticize, question, and tear down. Both groups have the same tools and information available. They're making very different choices about how to use them. The fact that Coco specifically said this pattern gets stronger each year she comes to Beijing is also significant. It's not a one-time thing or a fluke. It's a consistent pattern where Chinese fans continue to show increasing appreciation and thoughtfulness. That consistency matters because it means Coco can count on that support and respect, which isn't something she can apparently count on in all markets. Consistency of support matters enormously for athletes dealing with the ups and downs of competitive sports. Looking at the broader context of Coco's career, this revelation about Chinese fans comes after she's already achieved significant success, including Grand Slam titles. She's proven everything she needs to prove about her ability, her mental toughness, her readiness for big moments. And yet, the appreciation and respect she feels most strongly still comes from China rather than from large portions of American tennis culture. That says something important about how American sports culture treats its black women athletes even after they've achieved undeniable success. The envy aspect of this situation is interesting because it's multi-layered. Haters are probably envious that Coco has built such strong connections with fans who genuinely appreciate her. Other markets might be envious that China has built such strong relationships with one of tennis's biggest stars. And American tennis culture should probably be envious that another country is doing a better job of supporting and appreciating an American athlete than America itself is. That last one is particularly uncomfortable, which is probably why it won't get discussed much in mainstream tennis media. This also connects to larger conversations about where athletes feel safe, supported, and valued. Naomi Osaka talked about struggling with hostile media environments. Simone Biles discussed the pressure and lack of support she felt. Coco is now revealing that she feels most appreciated in China. The common thread is Black women athletes finding more support, respect, and humanity in places other than American sports media and fan culture. That pattern should prompt serious reflection, but it probably won't because that reflection would be uncomfortable. So Coco Gauff gets treated better by Chinese fans than by her own country's tennis culture, which is both heartwarming and deeply embarrassing for America. If this gave you something to think about, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop a comment. Why does American sports culture struggle so much to simply appreciate and support its own Black women athletes without constant criticism and skepticism?